And let's jump into the first story. I'd like to show you this tweet from Elon Musk. It is a meme. It's a meme of me. And boy, did this one trigger a lot of people.
Oh, man.
But it's not so much about the meme. I do want to highlight. It shows me say, here's an example of Twitter's left-wing bias. Twitter says we need to take into consideration the context. Me then saying the context is affected by your bias. And then Twitter saying we need an example of that. And the cycle continues. And I give you another example.
Well, Tim, do people understand that this actually comes from your appearance with her on Joe Rogan? Because I actually think people may not understand the context.
Oh, well, I think a lot of people don't understand that this is just summarizing. I went on Joe Rogan. Man, this comes up a lot now because this keeps becoming relevant. And we had this conversation.
Dude, that was huge. That was huge.
Yeah. Let me help you guys understand, because this tweet's got 34,000 retweets. What does this tweet mean? During the show, I was sitting down with Joe Rogan, Vijaya Gadde, the top lawyer, the one who reportedly cried at a meeting, and Jack Dorsey, the former CEO. I said, you have banned many people for saying #LearnToCode. That is an example of your bias. Vijaya Gadde said, yes, but you need to take into consideration the context. They were saying that to harass people. I responded with, no, they weren't. That your interpretation of that is based on fake news and leftist biased media. And she said, I would need to see an example of that. To which I responded, here's an example. You suspended the editor-in-chief of the Daily Caller for indirectly saying learn to code in a quote tweet. He didn't tweet it at anybody. I'm pretty sure that's what happened, right? He didn't tweet it. He didn't direct it at anybody. He was like...
No, I don't think it was even a quote tweet. It was just a standalone tweet.
And they suspended him for it.
That's right.
And there were many other people who did not direct learn to code. So I say that to her, and then, well, you got to take into consideration so that was a mistake, but the context around it. Okay, here's another person who tweeted a blanket thing like people are saying learn to code and it's funny, banned. So this cycle goes on and on. In this tweet, though, I want to show you some other things, because what this really is about, this is about some shady goings on. We talked about this yesterday, but I think we have a mystery, my friends. Take a look at Twitter. Let's pull up the tweet again. On the right side, what is this? Skateboarding is trending.
What?
Not Tim Pool is trending. Okay, I can't do anything about that. Elon Musk tweeted me out. But skateboarding, Dodgers at Diamondbacks? Now that's interesting. Now it says the black phone is trending. That's promoted. The What's Happening tab for me, maybe many of you have noticed this, has been consistently and overtly political, and it's typically leftist politics. It's typically saying something about, it'll say, Joe Biden did not shake hands with thin air, according to fact checkers. That's always what's going on in my What's Happening. Yeah. All of a sudden, it's like, you like skateboarding, Tim? Well, I actually do like skateboarding, but you've never recommended that to me before. Something strange is going on. And when you look at some of these tweets, let me see if I'll pull this one up right here. Daily Mail reports, burning the evidence before the new boss starts. Don Jr. and right-wingers see giant leaps in their Twitter followers after Musk bid was accepted. Let me see if I can pull up this tweet, because I might have things out of order. This is a tweet from me referencing the red-headed libertarian, a good friend of the show, Josie. Her Twitter handle is @TRHLofficial. That account was abruptly suspended January 20th, 2021, after she pointed out that in January 9th, 2019, she predicted Joe Biden would run for president and Kamala Harris would be the VP. A year later, with no warning, for no reason, she got suspended. That's it. She didn't break any rules. Why did that happen? Well, I believe it was today, she received an email abruptly. They reinstated her account. Why? It is obvious at this point that the drop-off of progressives, their follower counts are collapsing and conservatives are rising. It is not organic. Twitter is lying. There are journalists in the press claiming Twitter says it's organic. They're assisting in the lie.
Well, I think what they're doing is they're playing a game of saying it's organic because it's not bots. So it's not bot activity. Yes, it is real people that are leaving. A lot of progressives are leaving. A lot of conservatives are coming back. But the activity is not organic. The activity is artificial because this is the ban hammer which had swung down on people like Josie, people like so many others that are getting these. Now it's being lifted and they're magically coming back.
I don't think progressives are leaving. Sean King wouldn't even leave. he deactivates his account.
Whoa. Sean King did leave for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, he came back.
And then he came back. And then he pretended like he didn't leave.
And then they were trying to call you out, Jack, as if
Right, and then he was trying to call me out as if I had made it up. And it's like, bro, we all saw you take your account down.
I'm going to say it. I'm looking for the simple solution here.
Right.
I'm trying to make the least amount of assumptions. So when I see, you take a look at the Social Blade analytics.
Yeah.
Monday was the day that Elon Musk, it was announced, would purchase Twitter at 2:53 p.m. I know because I was recording live. I do all my recordings from my main show live. And at 2:53, the tweet comes out.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mean to tell me the day at 8 in the morning when the Wall Street Journal announced Elon Musk was in negotiations with Twitter.
Like final negotiations.
Final negotiations.
Yeah.
It was 8 a.m. Not a single conservative said, I'm going to come to Twitter and gloat. Not a single one came and said, let's cheer the sun. Not a single leftist said, I'm going to leave. This is getting dangerous. Okay, fine. Maybe, because it hadn't happened yet. By 2:53 p.m., not a single conservative joined Twitter to tweet, we got it, baby. Not a single one. Not a single progressive said, I'm leaving. I can't believe this just happened. No, they all just, for some reason, waited 24 hours. They all said, Elon Musk got Twitter back. I would like to gloat as a conservative. I'm going to wait until tomorrow to gloat.
I think that's because the news broke the next day overnight, and they weren't responding to him buying Twitter. They were responding to the news telling them to be afraid of it.
Wrong.
Well, Social Blade...
There would be a tiny, tiny bump. When I track analytics, and I've done it for like a dozen different accounts, you would think you would see a 5% increase at least, right? Because this was trending like crazy. Every major news outlet was boom, breaking. CNN had it on immediately. You'd think there would be a tiny, tiny anomaly. So I gain maybe 1,300 followers per day. You'd think Monday I'd see 1,500 if that was true, Ian. No. It was the exact same. It wasn't until the next day I saw 20,000. The next day, 40,000. Something happened overnight. And now when I look at the What's Happening tab, now skateboarding is trending for the first time for me in 8 years. Yeah, I've been skateboarding my whole life. Now they're recommending that to me. I want to add something to this. When the progressives losing followers, I don't think progressives are leaving for the exact same reason. You would think there would be a small anomaly the day the news was announced of progressives saying, I'm going to leave. Maybe Ian is right, that many people didn't notice until the next day when the news was really all over the place. But you'd think at least some people in the know would have left. A small percentage, 1%, 2%, there is zero anomalous data. It is static like normal. And then the next day, boom, 5,000 followers gone, 10,000 followers gone. No, I think these were bot accounts. I think Twitter was, I would argue, it's possible at least, Twitter was involved in this. We've already seen the story from Judicial Watch where the Democratic Party, I think it was in California, was requesting censorship. How much do you want to bet?
That was DC Drano.
DC Drano?
That was DC. Well, that's his lawsuit.
Okay.
Well, he was censored after request, and I believe.
Well, no, I think Judicial Watch revealed this. We had Tom Fitton on recently.
I think they did it, and then I know Harmeet Dillon is working on that one as well, where his censoring actually came at the behest of the California government, and what Judicial Watch got was they're getting the actual receipts, the documentation that shows that.
I'm willing to bet that Twitter was operating fake accounts for the sake of quote unquote health of the platform. That is, the platform was overwhelmingly being dominated by right-leaning voices, that liberals were overwhelmingly rejecting wokeness. A healthy platform, a good balance between left and right? Well, the problem is former hippie skateboarding liberal types and left-wing types like Tim Pool all of a sudden are saying we got to vote for Trump. The scales had shifted. How much you want to bet Twitter said we have the mission on our hands. So we're going to ban a good chunk of the right. We're going to artificially inflate the left to fake the health of the conversation.
Well, I think that almost gives them too much credit for doing something that's to the benefit of the whole. And I think there may be an element of that thought process in there, but I do think there was a big element, as in California, of political figures and corporate figures able to call the shots with Twitter so that some of the balance, or what may look like balance, is actually influence. And I think that's what makes the case for Twitter not just being a private company that can make its own policies, which is what people say when there's a question of do they have the right to censor. People say, well, it's a private company. It's not really. I argued in the last book that I wrote that it is a quasi-official public government organization because of its contracts, because it is beholden to the government, because it fears regulation if it doesn't abide by certain rules and requests. And it has admitted to taking directives from political figures and members of Congress who were not elected by us to control Twitter, but that's exactly what they've been allowed to do.
Let me address that. The path to hell is paved with good intentions. The people at Twitter think they're on a glorious mission to save humanity. But if you have the majority of the American people saying wokeness is not good, and you end up with post-liberals, these are people who voted for Democrats. I was supporting Bernie Sanders in 2016, and I did not vote for Trump. Now, here I am having voted for Trump and the Republicans in 2020. That is them saying, uh-oh, something bad is happening because our worldview is being rejected. In reality, they are insane. Psychopaths thought, how do we save the balance of the system? I know, as psychopaths, we need to create the perception that psychopaths are actually normal. They are, just because they have good intentions doesn't mean they're not doing evil. Right, so the path to hell is paved with good intentions. Yeah. They think they're good people. They're not.
I can echo that, man. As a social media administrator for like 5 or 6 years at Minds, what would happen is you'd get people would be boosting stuff and they'd be posting stuff, and I'd go through and I'd be like, okay, all politics are not safe for work. I want to keep that conversation in its own area, and then I'd see something would come up that I would agree with. And I'd be like, wow, I agree with that, and I want that message to be propagated. But my job as an admin is not to make that decision. I have to put that in the bucket with all the other politics. For instance, Tim's work. He'd make a video and it would be cogent, and I'd be like, well, it's politics, so it goes with the politics. And it takes a strong mind to continuously do that. I don't think any human's really capable of setting their emotions aside like that.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.